What's good, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another reaction video. We got grading the 2023 NFL Draft 2 years later. Let's check this out.
2023
Picks
NFL
1 through
draft
16.
2 years into their careers, and in today's video, we will be going back and grading the first half of the first round, which is picks 1 through 16. This is the fourth draft grade video of the series, as we recently graded the back half of the 2023 first round, which was picks 17 through 31.
Okay.
There were only 31 picks in the 2023 first round because the Dolphins forfeited their first round pick as a punishment.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
The league's anti-tampering policy. While
that shit looked weird as hell to have 31 picks.
As always, we will be going in reverse order, so we will be starting with
bro.
the Washington Commanders.
Like, what's crazy about this Emmanuel Forbes draft pick, bro? They chose him over Gonzo. Like, oh my, bro. I'm so glad Ron Rivera and Dan Snyder are out of their office, bro, because they were dead ass about to kill that franchise.
Let's begin. Emmanuel Forbes was the second
now this nigga on the Rams.
2023 draft after Seattle selected Devin Witherspoon at number 5 overall. I didn't like this pick from the beginning, as I thought now Patriots corner Christian Gonzalez was a better player in pretty much every way.
Down the
and
field.
I also hate the fact that Washington was selecting an extremely light corner in a division where you're going to have to go up against a guy like A.J. Brown twice a year, who outweighs Forbes by a good 40 pounds. And in week 4 of Forbes' rookie season, which was his first game against Philly, Forbes was targeted 13 times and allowed 9 receptions for 197 yards.
Oh my gosh!
And allowed an opposing passer rating of 151.
Yo!
Targeted. He got burnt in coverage quite a bit during
nigga, bro, allowing 200 yards in one game?
Ended. Not traded for a future draft pick, but flat out released.
Damn.
I was hoping Forbes would prove everyone
this an F
wrong
right here, I ain't gonna lie.
For Washington, but unfortunately,
nigga ain't even last 2 full seasons on the same
Los
team.
Angeles Rams, and not surprisingly, this grade is an F.
That's tough.
Will McDonald burst on.
Hey, I ain't gonna lie. Hey, Will McDonald had a big breakout year. I think he had, what, like 10.5 sacks? Hey, he gonna be a baller, bro. He definitely stepped up when Jermaine Johnson went down.
Very dysfunctional team at times, but they had
bro's just a freak athlete, for real.
And it showed in 2024. He finished the year with over 60 pressures, 24 quarterback hits, and had 10.5 sacks in what was a very good year for him personally. Unfortunately, McDonald missed his fair share of tackles in 2024, as he was credited with 11 missed tackles this year. But when you were able to flash as a pass rusher the way McDonald did,
he got to clean that up, though.
With the occasional bad
and I think I heard about him
he makes.
being bad in the run game too.
At times in the run game,
yeah,
which certainly factors into his grade. But I think 2024 was the start of the type of player that McDonald will be over the next few years, barring health, of course. I am genuinely excited for a healthy Jermaine Johnson and Will McDonald, and even big.
That would be a nice pass rush duo, bro.
Future. McDonald had a tremendous second season after a rocky first year, and 2 years in, this is an A. Broderick Jones is up and through 2 years.
Broderick Jones
largely been disappointing.
There's several that nigga was getting fried last year. I ain't gonna lie to you.
One specific thing or person, and in this case, a lot of the time, Steelers fans want to blame offensive line coach Pat Meyer. And while I'm not saying he certainly has a part in this,
this nigga just allowed Azeez Ojulari basically a free pass rush to the backfield. Here you go, like, bro.
1,080 career pass blocking snaps, and is coming off a season in.
Yeah, you better help out Russ, bro.
Sacks, which was tied for second most in the NFL behind his teammate Dan Moore.
Oh my
and
gosh.
is coming off of a year in which he also was credited with 10 penalties. Jones has been a disappointing player, and I know there's a belief that if he can play left tackle,
bro was allowed 16 sacks and damn near 80 pressures in his first 2 years.
He'll be fine. But there's a lot of technical problems with Broderick, like getting out of his stance and having his hands way too wide at times, and I hope he turns it around next year. He will be just 24 years old at the start of the 2025 season, so there is some hope for him to turn it around, but for now, this is an F. Lucas Van Ness was the Packers.
Oh yeah, bro. Why did they draft him? Because I ain't gonna lie, I react to most of the Packers games this year. I did not hear his name get called one time.
2 years, Van Ness
one time
with 22 pressures and 20 pressures, and has 7 careers.
Like I had pretty good expectations for Lucas Van Ness too, man.
Fans to watch over the first 2 years, because simply put, there's not a lot of.
He's a freak athlete too.
Van Ness is both physically and especially athletically. His arm length, hand size, 40-yard dash, 3-cone, and 20-yard shuttle were all in the 69th percentile or better when he was as a prospect. His broad jump was also in the 61st percentile, and when Van Ness gets loose at times, you can see how freakish of an athlete he is. But more often than not with Van Ness, There's simply no plan, and because of how athletic he is, there's naturally going to be some production, and also just due to him being on the field, but there's no denying how disappointing of a pick this has been through the first few years.
Yeah.
He will be just 24 at the
But
start
like
of the 25
it takes some players a little bit longer than others to really find their stride in the NFL. You know what I'm saying? It took Trayvon Walker to his second year to finally start, you know what I'm saying, going crazy. And then back-to-back years, he's had 10 sacks. Maybe Lucas Van Ness in his third year will start getting things going. Who knows?
His career turned around.
But right now,
athletically gifted he is, there's
I don't
not
know.
else going his way, and it's frustrating to watch for a team who needs help at the edge position. 2 years in, this is
C-.
a C-. Jahmyr Gibbs was
Jahmyr, bro, it's crazy that a lot of people were criticizing the Lions about this pick, bro. Like, I love this pick, I ain't gonna lie, because I watched Jahmyr, you know what I'm saying, obviously as an Alabama fan, you know what I'm saying, like, bro is just so talented, like, elite out of the backfield, like, receiving wise and shit, and like, the fact that he shared carries with Monty this year and still almost had 2,000 total yards says a lot.
Picks, and some people may not remember,
Like,
though
bro.
I know Lions fans definitely remember, but the Lions faced a lot of criticism when this pick was made.
That's facts.
How could they possibly trade back for a running back when Bijan Robinson,
You see why.
running back prospect since Saquon Barkley was available, when they were initially on the clock at pick 6? Well, in the first 2 years of his career, Jahmyr Gibbs is a 2-time Pro Bowler, and in his second season, had over 1,900 total yards and 20 total touchdowns.
God
I
damn.
honestly think due in some part to the year Saquon Barkley had, and even due to the year Derrick Henry had.
And if he wasn't sharing, you know what I'm saying, carries with Monty, that boy would have had a even more unbelievable season. I ain't gonna lie. He definitely topped the running back.
Gibbs had a generational second season. 1,900 total yards and 20 total touchdowns is downright insane.
Facts.
The Lions had the infrastructure
Nigga so
to
damn
support a
fast,
top
bro.
12 pick on a running back, and
Nigga, he a dead leg away from taking the run to the crib right here. You're, oh my
one of the
god.
best backs in the league, and this is an easy A+.
Oh my
Peter
gosh.
Skoronsky was the Titans' first round
Peter
pick.
Skoronsky?
Like a lot of young offensive
I
linemen
feel like
going
he been
from
hella
20 or
inconsistent too for the
21-year-old
Titans.
collegiate players every week to wrestling guys in the trenches like DeForest Buckner twice a season. Peter Skoronsky had a bit of a transition.
Oh
period
my
once he
gosh.
got to the
That nigga
NFL.
just got
And
bullied.
you could even say the transition period lasted into his second season a bit, at least early in 2024. I was really excited for his and J.C. Latham's future with the idea of them being coached by Bill Callahan, the Titans offensive line coach, who is, of course, Titans head coach Brian Callahan's father. And Skoronsky had a tremendous end to his second season, as in the final 7 games of the year, he allowed just 5 pressures on 273 pass blocking snaps and looked like the player he was at Northwestern.
Okay.
That is a pretty big difference for Peter Skoronsky, considering he allowed 23 pressures on 388 pass blocking snaps in weeks 1 through 11 of 2024. And anytime a player makes significant strides like this down the stretch of their second season,
That's good because
especially at just
they
22 years
really
old,
starting to build a
I'm
young, good
optimistic
O-line
about
with
this
him and
future
J.C. Latham.
every single time. And I'm really
They just need some more
optimistic about
pieces,
J.C.
though.
Latham, Peter Skoronsky, and Lloyd Cushenberry entering 2025. 2 years later, this is an A-.
Okay.
Darnell Wright is up, and I know the Bears
Darnell
had a rough
Wright.
2024 season, but Darnell Wright had a really good year, all things considered. Unfortunately, if
Only
you
bright
are
spot on that
aware of
line?
any play Darnell Wright has been a part of, it's probably from the Week 2 Sunday night game in Houston, in which Daniil Hunter got the best of Darnell multiple times. But
I mean,
Hunter
it's
is a
Daniil
two-time
Hunter, so,
Pro
like,
Bowler,
bro,
a guy
you
who
can give
has
him a pass on
89
that, I ain't gonna lie.
Sacks, and he's really good at what he does. And Darnell Wright, like
Oh my
Peter
gosh.
Skoronsky, had a
Oh,
tremendous end to his
damn.
sec, really good at what he does. And Darnell Wright, like Peter Skoronsky,
That nigga
had
almost hit a
tremendous end to his
split.
second season.
Oh
Obviously,
shit.
when you think of the 2024 Bears, you probably think of Caleb Williams getting sacked or not living up to unrealistic expectations. But Darnell himself,
Yeah, people
was
thought this
a
nigga was gonna
really
come out
good
and throw for like
player.
5,000
He allowed a
yards,
single
bro.
sack from week 11 on,
Like,
after being
bro.
credited with allowing 5 sacks in the first 8 games of the year.
But they were
He
like
just played forward
underwhelming,
at the
bro,
start of
for
the
them to have that much
2025
talent.
season, and I think next year
I
will
thought
be
they were
where
gonna have at
Darnell
least 10
Wright
wins, I ain't
really
gonna lie.
starts to get recognized nationally. He improved across the board from 23 to 24, and the one thing I'd like to see from him cut down next year is penalties. He is, by every definition, trending upwards, and through 2 years, this is an A-.
Okay.
Jalen Carter was
Jalen
one of the
Carter.
best defensive tackle
And the
prospects.
fact, like, bro, he wasn't even supposed to make it to the Eagles. He was supposed to go like top 5. And he failed because of character concerns and the whole like car crash incident. And bro, I know everybody regretting this shit.
Last 10 years,
Cause
and
he's a big
really
reason why they, you know what I'm
a
saying, won the
situation.
Super Bowl. Him, Josh
He was
Sweat.
arguably the best prospect in this class, and he's lived up to the hype in the first 2 years of his career. He finished second in Defensive Rookie of the Year voting to only Will Anderson in 2023, and in 2024 took his game to another level as he had 16 quarterback hits, was a second-team All-Pro, finished top 12 in Defensive Player of the Year voting, and the accolade I'm sure everyone cares about most, he was also named a Pro Bowler. His sack numbers technically went down from his rookie year to his second year, but the attention he commands in every single play.
He was getting double teamed most of
especially
his games.
He is a large reason, no pun intended, they won the Super Bowl. Carter is also a big reason Vic Fangio was able to consistently get home with just 4 rushers in the Super Bowl, and Jalen had 53 pressures in the regular season in 2024 and had an additional 22 pressures in the 4 postseason games. Jalen is only 23 years old, and the only question that's going to be asked when it's time for him to get a new contract is how much.
Not for real though.
Howie Roseman did it again.
That's gonna be crazy.
A+. Bijan Robinson was
Bijan, this is an A+ too. It's an A+ too.
Couple of years, and through 2 years, he has lived up to the lofty expectations and more. The only unfortunate part for Bijan in 2024 was he didn't play a good
gosh.
Team, and it was Derrick Henry and Jahmyr Gibbs all had phenomenal years. But you may be surprised to know in 2024 that Bijan had 1,880.
Main reason why running backs should not be undervalued, bro.
And was named to his first career.
Saquon and Derrick Henry being the main ones.
During the 2025
you know what I'm saying?
And with the way Michael Penix played towards the end of the year, I love the offensive future in the Big A.
Facts.
In 2 years, Bijan has over 3,300 total career yards and 23 total touchdowns, and I think he's been everything the Falcons could have asked for and more when they were on the clock a few years ago.
They need a good D-line to help out that offense, though.
I wish they drafted Jalen Carter instead of Bijan because of how bad their pass rush routinely is. But Bijan was a tremendous prospect and has played like it through the first 2 years. And I'd be surprised if he doesn't have another
top 5 running back
100-yard year in 2025. An A+ grade. Tyree Wilson of the Raiders was the
I don't know about this one, bro. I haven't heard about this motherfucker since he got drafted. I'm not gonna lie to you. Raiders fans, how has he been, bro? Has he been like, you know what I'm saying, underwhelming?
Or struggled during his rookie year. There were certainly times he flashed during the 2023 season, but there was a point during his rookie year where I had concerns that this was going to be an all-time bad pick. He picked it up a little bit towards the end of his rookie year and flashed at times during his second year too. He will be 25 during the 2025 season.
He's 25 already?
Pressures in his second year, including an 8-pressure game against New Orleans in what was the best game of his career so far. Tyree's big problem is he doesn't have a counter off the bull rush, and there's times...
Yeah, Max Crosby got to teach him on that, I ain't gonna lie.
Where opposing offensive linemen swipe his hands away, or because they too are NFL players...
Why you look mad? It's Esty right here.
Know how to neutralize the bull rush and stop Tyree before he can get going. The tools are there for him, and the flashes are too. It's just a matter of being able to put it all together. And 2025 will be a make-or-break year for him, but for now, this is a C-.
That's fair.
Paris Johnson Jr. of the Cardinals is up.
Paris Johnson. I heard he been really good for them.
Pick 3 to pick 12, then went back up to pick 6 to get their tackle of the future. Paris definitely had an adjustment period in his rookie season at right tackle, but got better as the season went on. He also went back to his collegiate position of left tackle in 2024, and I thought the transition for Paris was a lot more natural. He played in 14 of the 17 possible games in 2024 before suffering a left knee injury, which prematurely ended his sophomore season, but he was still a very good player when he played. He was credited with 515 pass blocking snaps in 2024 and allowed 4 sacks, only one of which came after week 5. He was more efficient as he transitioned back to left tackle, he improved in the run game, and he did a great job of protecting Kyler Murray's blindside. I think people get caught up in tackles like Penei Sewell or Joe Alt, who are each very good players, and act like if tackles are not on either of their levels, then they're a disappointing first-round pick or not going to be able to live up to the hype. But that is not the case. Paris Johnson is one of the most underappreciated players in the NFL. He is a franchise tackle, and he should be in the desert for a long, long time. An A+.
That nigga's sweating like a motherfucker.
Devin Witherspoon of the Seahawks is up.
Spoon
Started his career off.
Yeah, that was Spoon a dog, man.
Tremendous player for Seattle. Not only has he been a tremendous player for Seattle, but he has really changed the culture of the team and plays with a toughness and an edge that you have to see to really understand how impactful
He's
he is.
basically their Kyle
He's
Hamilton.
competitive,
You know what I'm
and
saying?
he's fiery as hell and has 14
That boy be
tackles
all
for a
over the
loss in
field.
the first 2 years of his career alone as a corner. During Super Bowl Media Week, he gave a receiver in the division bulletin board
That was a great
material,
tackle.
as he said Marvin Harrison Jr. is not hard to guard, and there's certainly times where corners yap, and if you will, just to yap, but Witherspoon backs it up. He's one of my favorite corners in the entire league, and I loved him as a prospect coming out of Illinois. He's everything you'd want in a corner. Tough, really good at recognizing plays before they happen, and Seattle fans know how lucky they are to have him. And Witherspoon gets the same grade as he did last year, an easy A+.
Okay.
Anthony Richardson was the third quarterback.
AR, bro. Here we go. And like, I feel like the main reason why he was drafted number 4 overall because of the fact of how much of a freak athlete he is. Like, he didn't have that many starts. I think he had I'll say they were 6-6 at Florida before he got drafted. Like, he didn't have that many starts, and the fact that they keep benching him, it's like, bro, he needs to stay on the field as much as he can to get better. You know what I'm saying? He needs as much reps as he can. And like, the fact that they keep benching him is gonna make shit worse. You know what I'm saying? Like, he just too inconsistent, bro. He gotta work on accuracy. You know what I'm saying? That's his big part. He gotta work on reading defenses. He's got an arm. Like, all the tangibles are there for him to be a great quarterback. He just gotta be consistent, bro. Like, that's the only thing.
4 picks and through 2 years.
Because if he can get his shit going, bro, Colts are gonna be a contender.
As he has 11
I don't know about Super Bowl contender, but you know, playoff contenders for sure.
In the top 5 was always going to be a risk because of how raw.
Like, he was still very raw of a prospect anyway, so
it's shown through the first few years of his career. He only played 4 games during his rookie year and didn't look as bad as people make him out to be now, and the hope was he could put it together in 2024.
Damn.
Unfortunately, he completed less than 48% of his passes in 2024, and he threw just 8 touchdowns to 12.
Maybe because he cut his damn locks, bro. The locks give you the superpowers.
That could have went wrong for AR last year.
You know what I'm saying?
Whether it was his own play or even what he is probably most known for at this point, checking out of a game midway through the season and then proceeding to get benched for a 39-year-old Joe Flacco.
That shit is crazy, though. 8 touchdowns to 12 picks is crazy.
Home run grand slam play he made, there were several instances where he'd strike out with the bases loaded. He is actually younger than both Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders, so there is hope that he can pan out at 23 years old, but 2 years in, this is an F.
Yeah.
The Texans,
that boy Will Anderson. Yo, the Texans, they had the steal of the draft. I ain't gonna lie. The fact they drafted C.J. Stroud, then traded right back up to snag Will Anderson too. Like, this is an A+ for sure. Him and Danielle Hunter were wreaking havoc last year.
Tremendous rookie season as he had over 55 pressures, had 22 quarterback hits, had 7 sacks, and won the Defensive Rookie of the Year award. He also made the Pro Bowl at just 22 years old, and the future was very bright for Anderson and the Texans. In 2024, he would go on to have his first double-digit sack season of his career at just 23 years old, and I really think the sky is the limit for him. He is in a good situation at the moment as he gets to play opposite of Danielle Hunter, and each player
they killed this whole draft class though, because I think they drafted. Did they draft Petrie in this draft class too, or was it like the previous draft?
Sophomore season at Alabama.
I think it might have been the previous. It was the previous year. My bad. It's previous
year. A couple of years ago, and for as tough as it can be to adjust to the trenches at the NFL level, Will Anderson didn't seem to struggle really at all. He is everything the Texans hoped for when they traded all the way up to pick 3, and this is an A+.
Facts.
C.J. Stroud is up and entering.
C.J. Now, he did have a down year, but I feel like that was only because his offensive line was not blocking for him whatsoever. Offensive line was bad, and he lost 2 of his top weapons in Tank Dell and Stephon Diggs. So I wouldn't put it all on him. You know what I'm saying? I still give this like an A. You know what I'm saying? But he did have a down year, so.
For him to replicate the year
I'll still get this like an A.
And to be the player the media expected him to be. I always thought
he was still like showing flashes, even with his offensive line getting cooked every play.
Personally as well. His numbers declined from 23 to 24 across the board, but I didn't think Stroud played bad in his second season compared to his first.
Yeah.
We often talk about players dealing with adversity, and C.J. Stroud dealt with an enormous amount of adversity in year 2, as he had his top 3 receivers all go down at one point and for extended time periods at that. Him throwing 5 interceptions on 499 passes in his rookie season was never going to be sustainable, and we saw that in 2024. The interior offensive line was also really bad for the Texans, and the positive thing to take away from the 2024 Texans season is they still won a playoff game, and CJ still looked pretty solid in the process. He looked like a different player against the Chargers in the wild card playoff game.
Yikes,
than he
20,
did for most
bro,
of the
20
regular
touchdowns,
season,
12
and I am
picks.
eager to
That
see
is
what
not
Houston
good.
does
I ain't
this
gonna lie.
offseason. The grade from last year doesn't change for Stroud, and through 2 years, this is an A+.
Oh, A+? Okay.
Bryce Young
I'm not
was
mad
the
at that.
number 1 pick in the 2023 draft, and I'll be
Bryce.
honest, this
Oh
was a
my
pick
gosh.
I
Let's
struggled
talk about Bryce real quick, bro. Nigga, everybody tried to write my boy Bryce off, my nigga. They tried to write him off saying he was a bust. Like, bro, how you gonna call him a bust? Look at the fucking team that's surrounding him. And after he got benched and came back, that boy was balling out. Like, real shit. He got his confidence back. That's all he really needed was his confidence. And you put some pieces around him, maybe go out and draft T-Mac, you know what I'm saying? Get another key piece on defense. Shit, Carolina might be contending for that division next year. I'm gonna keep it a buck. Hey, I like now. Last year I did say that Carolina was gonna surprise some people, which I'll say record-wise, no. But like the games that they were in, bro, they hung in there with Kansas City, Philadelphia. You know what I'm saying? They were hanging in games they just couldn't win them. So like, hey, Carolina might be on some shit next year. I don't know. I don't know, man.
He was set up to fail big time. His offensive line was horrible. His receivers outside of an even then 33-year-old Adam Thielen were terrible, and his head coach was fired midway through his rookie year. 2024 was supposed to be different, but it didn't start out that way, as the Panthers were outscored 73-13 in the first 2 games of the season, and Bryce looked about as bad as it could get, and he was starting to look like an all-time draft bust. But over the final 10 games of his second season, he had 20 total touchdowns to 6 interceptions and looked like a completely different player.
I mean, look at these final 10 games, bro, with 2,100 yards, 15 touchdowns, 6 picks, had 223 rushing yards, 5 rushing touchdowns. That's pretty efficient to me.
3 games of 2024, he had 10 total touchdowns to 0 turnovers, and the Panthers put up 35 or more points twice. But how much do you factor that into a guy's career who lifetime has a 6-22 record as a starter and has
it's not his fault though. It's not his fault.
To 19 interceptions?
It's not his fault, bro. You can't put that all on a rookie quarterback. I'm sorry.
I love Bryce Young, and I think his future is very bright, and I couldn't have been happier for him and the Panthers fan base to end the 2024 season the way they did. But this is a number 1 overall pick we're talking about here. I really think the grade will be higher next year, but after a D+ last year, it jumps to a B- this year.
Yeah, I agree with that. I ain't gonna lie.
Please like and subscribe, as well as check out the other draft
grade
videos.
Ooh, we gotta definitely check. I'm gonna definitely check out this.
Have a great day. Love you guys.
Hey man, shit, I wanna know what you guys think down in the comments. Well, y'all let me know what other NFL videos y'all want me to react to. Without further ado, I'm out.
I'ma make them feel me, make them people when they show me. And if you don't know me, I'ma make sure that you know me. I hate to say it, but I really think I'm broke. But I know I'm chosen, I really know I'm chosen. I know I'm chosen. I was just lost a year ago, but now I'm focused. When good at sports, this microphone can be my trophy. Not taking drugs, I found a better way of coping.